Hi, today we have engine from Peugeot 1.4 VTI engine. It's from Peugeot 207, and the problem with this engine is that it started to burn a lot of oil. That's why I'm going to disassemble it to see what's the problem of the engine. I'm going to start by disconnecting all the wiring, because as you can notice I have removed the engine completely with the wiring. It was easier like that, because when it's on the vehicle we don't have a lot of access for working. Disconnect almost all the wiring. This is the valve for the variable camshaft. Disconnected the ignition coils. This one is little stuck somewhere. The grounding point with 8mm nut. Also on this side I have disconnected the oxygen sensors or lambda sensors. Here we have camshaft sensors. This is the position of the variable intakes, because it has variable camshaft, but also there is variable intake valves. This is the motor that controls how much to open the inlet valves. This is the sensor. Here we have the oil pressure switch. Here we have the coolant sensor. Also we have another coolant sensor. One is before the thermostat, the other one is after the thermostat. The reverse lights switch. So now we go at the back. Now I have to remove the fuel injectors with these two bolts with Torx 30, so I can disconnect the wiring. Under the inlet manifold, here we have the map sensor. Here is the starter connector switch. This is the evap valve. It stays over here. This is the connector. Here it takes from the inlet manifold. That one is loosened. Now I can remove the hose after I remove the inlet manifold. At the back here we have the knock sensor. This is the heater for the oil evaporator. This is the oil level sensor. Here we have one metal bracket. There is one nut here and one bolt here for the wiring that goes through this side. It goes through the below the engine mount, and it goes to the alternator, also on the alternator, and for the AC compressor. I'm going to remove all the wiring, and I'm going to disconnect the hoses that these two are going to the exchange heater. This one goes to the coolant radiator. The other one is already removed. Now that the wiring and the hoses are removed, I'm going to remove the drive belt, and I want to remove the AC compressor because I don't want some dirt to fall inside. And to remove it I have to use 12 angle key with a 21mm wrench. That should be something like this. And when I push down, I'm going to press this pin. It's going to lock the tensioner. And next, to remove the drive belt, I have to pull this pin, and you can see it's going to lower the other tensioner. This one is for the coolant pump. it delivers the rotations through the drive belt, through the pulley, and on the other pulley. And as you can notice, this one is damaged, so I'm gonna have to replace this coolant pump pulley. And now I can remove the AC compressor, remove the alternator, remove the tensioners. For the AC compressor, 3 bolts with 13mm wrench. Alternator we have it's together with the tensioner. We have also 3 bolts. They can be opened with female torques. Female torques for the alternator is 10. And also 3 bolts with 10mm wrench of the other tensioner. And I'm going to open the 3 bolts with 10mm wrench of the coolant pump pulley. Now I'm going to remove the 3 bolts of the crankshaft pulley. They can be opened also with female torques 10. And I'm going to remove the engine mount with 16mm wrench. Now I'm moving on this side. I'm going to remove the inlet manifold. There are 5 nuts that are holding the inlet manifold, and one is below with a 13mm wrench. I have removed the inlet manifold. Next I'm going to remove the exhaust manifold. First I have to remove the heat shield. There are a couple of bolts with 10mm wrench. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bolts with 10mm wrench. If I remove the upper heat shield, the lower one I have to remove the oxygen sensor, but like this I can open the 2 bolts with 13mm wrench that hold the catalyst system, and also I'm going to open 10 bolts with 10mm wrench that are holding on the cylinder head. Next I'm going to remove the camshaft cover. There are 13 bolts with 10mm wrench. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have removed the valve cover, so now we can see both variables. We have 2 camshafts. They are with variable camshafts. This is the valve, so the oil pressure regulates the inlet camshaft and also the exhaust camshaft. We have another valve on this side for the inlet, and this one is for the exhaust. Also we have a third camshaft, that is this one, and it's on the inlet side, and that one is controlled by an electric motor. So how this one is turning, it makes the inlet valves open more or open less. That depends of the RPM, and this is the sensor that regulates the position of the third camshaft. So now I have to disassemble the timing chain, disassemble the camshafts, remove the valves for the variators, and also I have to open this bolt with 27mm wrench. This is the timing chain tensioner, and when I open it, then I have to open these 2 center bolts with female torques 14, and I can hold it for the counterweight on this side with 27mm wrench with a spanner key like this. and I can disassemble the timing chain. Have to open these two bolts with 8mm wrench from the plastic slide on the top, and after that I can open these all bolts so I can disassemble the camshafts. I have put this to hold the timing chain while I remove the plastic slides, and to remove them I have to open these two bolts with Torx 40, and then I can remove the plastic slides. Also, this bolt is holding the uh, right plastic slide. This one can be opened with Torx 50, and also I can open the center bolt of the crankshaft with 18mm wrench. This one is tightened very well, so I have to hold on the flywheel, or I can open it with air tool. It will be much more easier like that. And after that I can remove the vacuum pump for the brakes. There are two bolts with 10mm wrench. Also I can remove this cylinder head bracket. This one is for holding the engine with special tool when removing the transmission. And also I can open the thermostat housing. The thermostat housing has one nut with 10mm wrench and two bolts. One is here, the other one is over here. They are with 8mm wrench, and have to pull out this metal bracket so I can disconnect it from the plastic pipe that goes to the coolant pump. I have disassembled the camshafts. So next is to remove the variable camshaft actuators and open the cylinder head bolts. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and also remove this motor for the variable inlet valves. There are 3 bolts with Torx 30. I have opened the bolts from the cylinder head. We have 10 bolts with female Torx 12 and 2 bolts with female Torx 10. And now I can remove the bolts and I can remove the cylinder head. And also I forgot to mention it, there is one bolt at the back at the inlet manifold that can be opened with female Torx 10. So now I can remove the cylinder head. Next I'm going to remove the starter. There are 3 bolts with 6mm hex wrench. Here we have one, here should have one, and one should be below. Now I'm going to disassemble the engine from the transmission. Now here we have 1, 2, 3 nuts with 16mm wrench. Also here we have one bolt, 2 bolts, 3 bolts, and there is one lower down, 4 bolts with 13mm wrench. I have disassembled the transmission from the engine. So now I'm going to remove the oil filter housing. There are 4 bolts with 8mm wrench. Also I'm going to remove this aluminium mount for the AC compressor, and after that I'm going to flip the engine upside down and I'm going to remove the oil pan. The oil has been previously drained when the engine was on the vehicle. I have flipped the engine upside down, so now I'm going to remove the oil pan. The oil pan are holding 16 bolts with 8mm wrench. I have removed the oil pan, so now I'm going to open the 3 bolts of the oil pump with Torx 45, and I'm going to remove the oil pump. I have removed the oil pump. It's driven by a timing chain, and I'm going to remove the oil lever sensor because I don't want to damage it here. And this one can be opened with 22mm wrench. And also I'm going to remove this metal plate. They are holding 4 bolts with 10mm wrench. I have removed the metal plate, so now I'm going to open the uh, big end bearings. They can be opened with female Torx 10, and I'm going to remove the pistons. I have removed the pistons from the engine block. Now I can notice on the first piston the oil ring is pretty much damaged. I can see cracks all the way. I don't know what has happened. I'm gonna try to remove it. I don't know if you can notice it. That's why the engine was burning oil. I have cleaned the engine block. I have used water sandpaper to clean this area where the gasket is from the cylinder head. Also I have cleaned the cylinders here at the top where the carbon dioxide was on them. So now it's ready to return the pistons inside. Also I have cleaned the pistons. This gap where the piston rings should stay is the most important part of the job. They should be very well cleaned. And I'm going to install new piston rings and also new connecting rod bearings. These are the piston rings. Inside we have oil ring, the compression ring, and also the we have the connecting rod bearings. So I'm going to start with the first piston, install the bearings, install and compression rings. First I'm installing the oil ring. It goes the metal spring, and after that 2/2 of the oil ring. Now the gap of the oil spring is over here, and the gap of the oil rings should be around 1 centimeter left and right. So next I'm going to install the second ring. Now this one is for wiping the oil that has exceed from the oil ring, and you can see there is how it's made, and we have a little dot here. This one is for the top part, or it can be printed on the ring. And next I'm going to install the compression ring. It also has to be some markings, or it should be printed top side how it should be installed. And now the piston ring gap should be on each other, should be 60 degrees. So from here to the next ring should be 60 degrees, and from this ring to this ring also should be 60 degrees. So I'm installing them something like this, and now I'm going to slightly oil it, put oil on them, and I'm going to compress them with a special tool, and I'm going to install them into the cylinder. There was a small mistake with the parts. The connecting rod bearings were different. These are the parts we need. First one that I show you, they were having a metal pin over here, but this one should not be like that. So I have replaced them, and I'm continuing with installing. I have installed the first piston. Now you can see the fourth one is also, I have put the metal clamp. So now I'm going to put inside into the cylinder, slightly lubricated. No, I forgot to mention it, because these con rods are cracked, and so they have to be installed like this. If you turn it upside down, or if you mix them with another one, you can see they cannot fit, and then will be very big problem. So when you tighten it with the bolts, you don't even see the line of the crack. I have installed all 4 pistons, connect them with the crankshaft. So now it's time to tighten them, and to tighten them I have to use a torque wrench. So here we have for the big end bearing caps, we have to tighten it 5 Newton meters, then 10 Newton meters, and after that 130 degrees. I have tightened the conrod bearings with a torque wrench, and I'm using a female Torx 10 for the bolts. Next I'm going to install the metal plate, and after that I'm going to install the oil pump. I have installed a metal plate, 4 bolts with a 10mm wrench, and also after that I have installed the oil pump, 3 bolts with Torx 45. So now I'm going to install the oil pan. I have already cleaned it. I'm going to put silicone for gasket, and I'm going to install the bolts. I have installed the oil pan. There are 16 bolts total with 8mm wrench. So next is to install the cylinder head. I have cleaned the cylinder head. Also I have disassembled the valve springs and removed the valve steam seals. These are the old one. Now we can see that the rubber now is made like a plastic. It's very hard, and that's why it needs to be replaced. And here I have new kit that I'm going to install. I have 16 I'm going to dip them in oil, so I can install them much more easier. I just have to press them by hand, there is nothing special. And after that I'm going to install the valve springs, and with a special tool, that one is my homemade, I'm going to press the spring and install the two pins that hold the valve with the spring together. I have installed the metal springs with a little struggling. Also the cylinder head has been flattened on a special machine, so now I can install on the engine. I want to show you where the engine should be locked. This is the tool that I have made for locking pin, and it can be locked only in one place. You can see the pistons are at the middle. I'm going to install the new gasket and install the cylinder head. Here I have new gasket that I'm going to install on the vehicle. And now I can install the cylinder head. And now I'm going to install the bolts. So we have 10 bolts that can be tightened with female Torx 12 and 3 bolts with female Torx 10. This one I set 12. These 3 bolts are with female Torx 10. So now I'm going to show you the pattern and how much torque we need to use. This is the pattern for tightening the bolts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13 bolt. And this is a stage 1 for 1 to 10 bolts should be 30 Newton meters. For bolts 11 and 12, these smaller ones with female Torx 10 should be 25 Newton meters. And 13th bolt also with female Torx 10, it should be 30 Newton meters. And then stage 2 for bolts of 1 to 12 should be 90 degrees, and stage 3 for bolt from 1 to 12 also should be 90 degrees. So now I'm going to start tightening. I have tightened the cylinder head, so now I'm installing the camshaft followers at the exhaust side, and I'm going to install the camshaft. I have slightly lubricated and installed exhaust camshaft, tightened 10 bolts with 8mm wrench. So now I'm going to install the inlet camshaft. Also I'm going to lubricate it a little. There are two camshafts at the inlet. One is for the variable valve timing, and the other one is for variable intake. First I am installing the motor of the variable intake. There are 3 bolts with Torx 30, and after that I am installing the camshaft for the variable intake. So this gear should be in the middle, and we can see there is a pin here that should be pointing upwards. Or if we see from this side, we have to this have aligned. Now I'm going to install the camshaft followers and start installing the uh, whole system together with the inlet camshaft. So first I'm installing the camshaft followers at the they are below. First the lower ones, and after that I'm installing this camshaft caps, camshaft bearings. Now you can see there is a number. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And after that, before tightening, I'm installing the upper camshaft followers. So now I can tighten these bolts. They are also with 8mm wrench. There are 3 bolts on each camshaft bearing. Now I'm going to lubricate and install the inlet camshaft. And now the toughest job is to install the metal springs. I couldn't install the springs like that, so I'm trying a different strategy. I have removed once again the inlet camshaft, install the springs. So now I'm going to press the springs with the inlet camshaft and install the bearings. And after that, with a large screwdriver, I'm going to pass them so they can lock with the camshaft followers. I have installed a camshaft. I'm not tightening all the way, and also I have tried to install one spring. Now you can see the fourth one is installed. I'm taking a large screwdriver and pushing it like this, and I can install on the camshaft follower. I have managed to install all the springs. For this one, for the first one, I had to remove the camshaft bearing cap. So now I'm going to install it, and after that I'm going to tighten the camshaft. I have installed this aluminum mounting, 4 bolts with 8mm wrench, and now I'm going to install the timing chain. Here I have new timing chain kit. Here is the timing chain, and here we have the tensioner. First I have to assemble the plastic chain guides. So I have to put together like this, and after that I have to turn it. And now the timing slides are ready to be installed. I have put the timing chain together with the lower sprocket. And also I have put the pins that hold the plastic slides. I have reviewed the seals on these pins, and I'm going to tighten them, these two with Torx 45 and this one is with Torx 50. I have put the timing chain. Also I have installed the upper slides, 2 bolts with 8mm wrench. I have installed the variable mechanism. Now this dot inside should be aligned with the center of this, so that means that the variable mechanism is returned into its normal position. And also you can see there is another dot on the exhaust variable. So they are returned into normal position, and I'm going to install the bolts, and I'm not going to tighten them. And also I'm going to install the crankshaft pulley. And I'm going to install the bolt, but I'm not going to tighten it. And now I'm going to install the hydraulic tensioner. I have tightened the tensioner with 27mm wrench. And now I have to, the crankshaft is locked. I previously showed how should be locked. Now there is a special tool for locking the camshaft. It should be looking like this, but this one is from another vehicle. So you can see one is a little bit higher and the other one is lower. but it's almost the same. So this should be pointing. I can move it with 27mm wrench. So we have three square parts, and one we have a little curve. Now you can see it. The curved part should be pointing downwards. If I move it, now you can see the curved part. So this should be pointing, the three parts, the square parts should be like this. And if I put this, it has to be straight with the cylinder head. And when it's straight, I can tighten the bolt on this side. I can tighten it with female Torx 14, and I can hold here with 27mm wrench for not moving the camshaft. Now that the exhaust camshaft is tightened, I'm going to adjust the inlet camshaft and tighten it also with female Torx 14. I have tightened both inlet and exhaust camshaft. So now I'm going to tighten the crankshaft pulley. The crankshaft pulley can be tightened with 18mm wrench, and the locking pin is still stays on the flywheel, so I can tighten it center bolt. I have tightened the crankshaft pulley. I can remove the pin, and I can rotate the engine 2 rotations clockwise to see how the timing chain is working. And after that, if everything is okay, I can install the uh, camshaft cover. Everything is looking good. Now I can install a camshaft cover. I'm going to install a new gasket because the old one was leaking a little. This is the new gasket that I'm going to install. I have installed a vacuum pump, 2 bolts with 10mm wrench, installed the oil pressure sensor, 22mm wrench, installed the variable intake sensor, 3 bolts with 10mm wrench, installed the engine support, 1 bolt with Torx 40. On this side I have installed uh, uh, actuators for variable camshaft, install the oil dipstick, 1 bolt 10mm wrench, variable camshaft also is holding 1 bolt with 10mm wrench. Now I'm going to also I have installed the oil level sensor, 22mm wrench. Now I'm going to install the oil filter housing. Here I have new gasket seals that I'm going to install. I have installed the rubber seals. Now I'm going to tighten it, 4 bolts with 8mm wrench. Now I can install the exhaust manifold. First time installing the gasket with the heat shield. And now we have 10 nuts with 10mm wrench, and also we have 2 bolts at the lower bottom. I don't know if you can see it. One is on this side with 13mm wrench, and on this side we should have a nut, but the bolt is removed. So I'm going to install a new bolt. I have installed the exhaust. Also I have installed tightened this lower heat shield cover. 4 bolts with 10mm wrench, 2 on this side and 2 on this side. Now I'm going to install the upper heat shield. Upper heat shield, 6 bolts with 10mm wrench. Now I'm going to connect with the transmission, and after that I'm going to install the starter and inlet manifold. I have installed the transmission completed with the engine. Now we have one nut here and one nut down below. They are with 16mm wrench, and also this bolt with 16mm wrench. And after that we have one bolt here with 13mm wrench, one bolt here, here and also here. They are all with 13mm wrench. Also I have installed the starter, one bolt, two bolt, and here it should be the third bolt, but that one was missing when I was disassembling. They are with 6mm hex wrench. Now I'm going to install the thermostat housing and also the plastic hose that is connecting the thermostat and the coolant pump. That would be this one here. I'm going to install it on the thermostat. The old one was damaged here at the rubber seal. It was missing some plastic parts. That would be something like this. There is a mark here that should be aligned and how it's supposed to be installed. Now I just have to install the metal pin. I have slightly lubricated the oil seal so I can fit the plastic pipe easily, also on this side. So here I have to put the thermostat on that bolt. And now slowly, with not too much force, I just have to put it in. I have inserted the metal pin, so now I can tighten the thermostat. There is one nut here with 10mm wrench and two bolts with 8mm wrench. One is here and the other one is down below. I have tightened the thermostat. Now I can install the inlet manifold. Now we have 5 nuts with 13mm wrench, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have one bolt down below, also with 13mm wrench. We have installed the inlet manifold. Now I'm going to install the wiring, and I'm not going to install the coolant pump friction wheel, tensioner, crankshaft pulley, alternator and AC compressor, because when I was removing the engine they were a little in the way. So I think it will be easier for mounting the engine like this, and after that on the vehicle I'm going to install those things. I have installed the first cable. There is a mounting bracket with two nuts, one here with 13mm wrench and also here with 13mm wrench. Connected the reverse light switch. Here I have connected the starter, also the starter. There is a mount here with 13mm wrench. and it goes on this side. Here should be supported on the aluminum part, but that one I'm going to install it later. And here it can be connected with the alternator and also with the AC compressor. I have installed the main cable. First I have attached the plastic on the metal bracket. Then I'm connecting the coolant temperature sensor, oil pressure switch, camshaft sensors. On this side there are two oxygen sensors. These are for the ignition coils. Here we have grounding point and exhaust camshaft actuator for the uh, here we have another temperature sensor, the motor for the variable intake, the sensor for the variable intake, map sensor, connected the fuel injectors, also installed them, 2 bolts with Torx 30. So now we are going down below. Here we have the evap valve, also connected here on the inlet manifold, and the other hose is going for the to connect with the fuel tank. Here we have the crankshaft position sensor, oil level sensor. This one is for oil evaporator heater, and here back we have knock sensor, the throttle body, and also the uh, actuator for the inlet camshaft. And now the engine is ready to be installed in the vehicle, and after I install it I'm going to install the crankshaft pulley, the tensioners, alternator, and the AC compressor. I have mounted the engine on the vehicle, connected all three mount supports, and also I have installed the clutch sleeve cylinder, 2 bolts 13mm wrench, connected the grounding point, connected the hoses for the exchange heater. Also on this side I have installed the aluminum mount, 4 bolts with 16mm wrench and 4 bolts with Torx 45, and 1 bolt is behind that is holding the wires with 13mm wrench. Also here I have installed the alternator, the tensioner for the drive belt. There are 3 bolts with female Torx 10, 1 nut with 13mm wrench for the positive terminal, 1 connector. Also I have installed the AC compressor, 3 bolts with 13mm wrench, and behind the AC compressor there is a aluminum mount also. There are 2 bolts and 2 nuts with 13mm wrench. Connected the pipes, connected the wiring for the AC compressor. Now I can install the crankshaft pulley and also the coolant pump pulley and the other tensioner for the coolant pump pulley. Here we have a new friction wheel because the old one was damaged. That's why I'm installing the new one. And also this roller was making a noise. This one is from the tensioner of the coolant pump. That's why I'm going to replace it. I have mounted the coolant pump pulley, 3 bolts with 10mm wrench. Also I have mounted the tensioner for the coolant pump, 3 bolts also with 10mm wrench. install the crankshaft pulley, 3 bolts with female Torx 10, install the drive belt. Also I have connected the exhaust, installed the drive shafts. As you can see, I have put back together the headlights, the front bumper, the radiators, connected the hoses, connected the wiring of the ECU from the BSI. I have installed a new air filter, tightened, installed new oil filter, refilled with 530 new oil, installed the spark plugs, installed the ignition coils. I have refilled with coolant. Now I just have to refill it with a little bit more, because I have opened it. There are two plugs. One is over here. It can be loosened with a screwdriver, and the other one is at the back here on the exchange heater. And when it starts to leak, I'm closing them, and now I'm going to refill it with more coolant, and after that I'm going, and now I can start. The engine is working fine. I will wait for the temperature to rises. I'm going to let idle. The engine has been working for a while. Now I have connected with a diagnostic tester. As you can see, we don't have any fault codes, and also we can check how the parameters are. Now you can see the ignition was okay. Inlet phase, and reference value is 60, so this one is also okay. The timing is set just right. So this means that everything is okay. There is no more blue smoke, also I have to mention it. So this means that I am finished, and if you like to see more vehicles being repaired, please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and thank you for watching.